Hello, Imperial citizens. It's Armstrong here from Madai Miniatures. Hi, Inquisitor Armstrong. And today we have some requisitions from a Forgeworld of Teamu. Yeah, what we decided to do was we wanted to check if the amount of Imperial credit that we spend normally to requisition a Baneblade would be able to provide us with a little bit more of equipment. So let's start from small things, and then we're gonna go to bigger and bigger objects. So first of all, our soldiers felt a little bit unstable on the metal surfaces, so we got some adhesible magnets. Yeah, they can stick to metal surfaces. They are not too strong, but should be good enough to keep them in place. Second thing, as well, our mechanics have problem with cutting stuff straight. We got like little 3D printed miter box for a delicate things like this, for example, a V-shaped tunnel. So that's another little thing that we got. And another little thing that we got, which is 100 of them, is a box of 25mm bases, because we need to put our guys on the compliant basis for, for a reason of inquisition, obviously. Then the first thing, which I'm a little bit disappointed, the Forgeworld kind of forgot that we are a 25mm heroic scale, not a what you would call it. That would be like 56 mils or 48 mils, fits more into a 56mm scale than 25 heroic scale. So this one was a miscommunication with the Forgeworld. We're gonna have to send it back, or demand some sort of a credit from the Forgeworld, because they designed it for tiny people, and we weren't looking for stuff for tiny people. Yep. The next thing, which I'm actually very happy with, is a lemongrass. Lemon. Yeah. Anyway, sour fruit tank. Yeah. So we got that requisitioned. Cost us less than 1/15 of a price of Baneblade, and less than fifth of the price of a lemongrass. Of course, there are a couple of artifacts, because those folders are not as exact as the original ones, but you can see the artifacts in here from the manufacturing processes. But those artifacts actually build up a texture on the tank itself that looks more natural. So we got not one, but two of those tanks. Unfortunately, tank number 2 came with a little bit of damage pre-made. There is one of the exhaust missing. Yeah, but in my opinion, this is small enough issue that we don't gonna be really sending this back to the Forgeworld, as there is no point of doing so. We can fix it on the spot with some, field repairs. Then we got a lemongrass with a Gatling gun and the last cannon as a small weapon. And again, we can see the artifacts of the production, coming in here and here, and especially on the fuel canister in the back. I'm not 100% sure if I don't gonna remove them and put my own in, but generally very good looking tank. And of course, we got two of them. Again, cost-wise in the Imperial credits, about 1/5 of the original one coming from Mars or any other Forgeworld. So the dark Forgeworlds of Teamu, are good for this stuff. Next thing, this little lovely thing. I gotta be honest, I don't remember exactly what the Mars called this equipment, but it is a giant flame throwing thing with a last cannons that are a little bit junky, but I really don't mind. And this one comes with a fuel tank on the wheels, or maybe it is a field kitchen. I would still think it is a fuel tank. None of those actually I use even a tiny amount of glue, so all of this is just put together with the pins. Oh no, sorry, I used glue in here because it was a little bit too loose. So this all together brought the price, all of that I showed you, brought the price to roughly one lemon rust price, or maybe 1.5 in the Imperial credits. This one costed me 12.5 Imperial credits, so not too bad. The rest of them was 8 Imperial credits. This one was 12.5, but like I said, we're gonna have to send it back. They did mislead me with the size. But yeah, this is stuff, you know, that I chosen for our lovely Penal guards. And now pièce de résistance, something that everyone who collects, who is in our hobby, wants to have. And if you can see it in the screen, it is a Space Marine I lost the word. Well, Space Marine spaceship. What is the name of it now? Oh my god. I forgot. But anyway, anyone who is collecting, you know, who is in this hobby now, let's be honest, wants one of those. This one cost only 45 credits. In comparison to original one from the Forgeworld, which can set you back 1,000 credits. No, 300 was the cheap one. So this one is a tenth, eighth of the price of the original, which, as you can see, it is actually very well done. There are, of course, a couple of artifacts. Yeah, let's switch to normal speech. A couple artifacts from 3D printing, like for example on those surfaces, but not too much. The surface of the panel in here is a little bit wonky, as well as some panels on the other side that I can see. Thunderhawk. That's the Thunderhawk. Okay, now I got it. Yeah, and generally it's a nice looking piece of kit. The front gate is opening. It doesn't look very nice on the inside. You know, the surface of the plastic isn't perfect. You can see that the 3D printer did struggle a little bit with this model. Yeah, and but this is all fixable. This is all very easy fixable. Right paint job gonna help it. The second thing, if you really you have problem with the little bit of surface imperfections, you can go over them with acetone. It's gonna soften it, and in the worst case scenario, you can literally just do a little bit of sanding and fix it. So yeah, like I said, normal speech. I got those lemon rust for 8 quids each. The big flamey guy 12 quids. The small thingy cost me 12 something. It was pre-order and it was very not clear, you know, what size it is. So I think that altogether I spent like 112 euro, which is a little bit cheaper than Baneblade by itself, I think. So I got a Thunderhawk, 4 lemon russes, this big thingy which I don't know the name of. Yeah, the only problem with this I can see is that this kind of, you know, I don't know what kind of gun it would be. It can actually slide in. Like, you can hide it inside of the ship. Yeah, and when I got it, that little wing, one of those little wings, was actually stuck inside, so I have to recover it with a little bit of, you know, force. So that was another little thing that was a little bit annoying. But generally, this is my first shopping from Teamu 3D printed section. And all of those are MDF prints, which again, I'm surprised how well they look. Well, only that little thing is a resin print. Yeah, and they really came in, surprisingly well. Like you can see, they really look good. Like I said, couple of little artifacts. You can see that the Thunderhawk have. Oh, I just lost the gun. Thunderhawk have rockets and laser guns under the wings. All of that is literally push fit. Yeah, I haven't, like, I use glue on one of the little rockets under the smaller wings because the clip was a little bit too loose. But as you can see, I can still disassemble this. So if I want to do some lighting on the inside or stuff like that, I have easy access to everything. I can remove like engine parts because they are only clipped in, and so on and so forth. Like if I want to do more of a cleanup, I can do so. And yeah, generally, I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't expecting much. I was thinking that it's gonna be a total disaster and I'm gonna get either two small things, which one of them is too small, or completely disastrous effects and stuff that I wouldn't be caught using even in friendly battles. But I'm almost half convinced to get myself a MDF 3D printer. The other thing is, for those of you who don't want to mess with the 3D printers and who are who don't really play the game in the store, just play with the friends, this is a affordable option for increasing your army, because like we all like Games Workshop to the point where we do spend a lot of money. Like I spent probably, like, this year only, I probably spent around 700-800 quid on Games Workshop stuff. And for that price, I could probably build a full armored division for Imperial Guard. That includes like Baneblade size tanks. Yeah, and it would be it is another option for us. Like I'm not really telling you, oh, buy the everything from Teamu, but some of the stuff, like for example, I have original lemon dresses. I have like two of them. I have two chimeras. I have four, I think, sentinels. I have two bane blades, and I have a lot of Imperial Guard stuff that I never showed because I got Imperial Guard from before I started actually recording videos on YouTube. And one day I'm gonna show them. One day I'm gonna just bring everything out. But this is another, like I said, for me, like I would never pull a trigger, on buying myself a Thunderhawk. Yeah, it's just too expensive for me. Unless I'm gonna start somehow making a lot of money out of YouTube, which I highly doubt. With my like, I don't do good editing of the videos. But this is affordable version. Obviously, it doesn't look exactly like the original Thunderhawk. It is a proxy. Yeah, anyone who gonna see it on the table gonna know it is a proxy, and I don't even think that I ever gonna play it as a Thunderhawk or as anything else. Yeah, but I really wanted to have that model at home because I've been seeing this in the shop since I was a kid. Well, yeah, and I wanted one, and now I'm actually giddy. Like I rarely, like, especially right now, after everything that's happened. I never talked about that on the publicly, but people who know, they know. I'm actually giddy for a first time in a long time for what I got in here, and I wasn't expecting that I'm gonna be so happy with this purchase. So yeah, that's what I want to say. If you are interested, of course, look at Teamu. Like I said, this one costs like 40 odd quid. Yeah, and you literally just can get this is MDF printed, so obviously it's gonna be having artifacts and everything. Yeah, but it is a cheap option for you to get your hands on this. And then if you decide, oh my god, I love the model so much that I want to buy a original one, yeah, you can start putting money together to buy the original one. Because this is awesome. This is like the entire, you know, Thunderhawk is a brilliant thing. Let me just put it back on the other desk. And you know, all of those big tanks, like they cost tremendous amount of money on Forgeworld, yeah. And in here we have proxy. Obviously, it doesn't look exactly like the normal tank. They do actually make changes to them, so they are not exact. The same with those Lemon Russes. They are not exactly Lemon Russ. They are close enough, but there are still differences. Like the turrets are much smaller because Lemon Russ have much more chunkier side turrets. Yeah, and the turrets, the main turrets look a little bit different. So there is differences, and of course I put the. Oh no, this one actually came pre-assembled, and all of the machine guns was actually upside down. Oh my goodness. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to even remove that one. I think that they glue it in. Yeah. But I can see that the bolter is upside down, yeah? So generally cheap option for you to improve your army. Yeah, and quite decent. Like, you know, if you can squint your eyes and completely ignore the artifacts, like for example, this one have very little of the artifacts. Yeah, in here on the sides, if you drag your finger over the barrel, you can feel that it is full of the 3D printed lines. Yeah, but other than that, perfect. Like if you are running a Nurgle army, yeah, you can get yourself something very cheap and very reasonable for, you know, what you have, and then do a little bit of conversions, and you're gonna have a ton of fun with it. And for me, like I said, this is my entire Penal Legion idea is, you know, they are sitting in here right now in boxes, partially painted. I'm working on them to come together, yeah. And definitely, you know, this gonna help me with getting the army looking bigger and more fun. So like I was counting on this being actually a proper scale and proper size, but unfortunately, yeah, you always have to have at least one dot in those shopping. Yeah, but yeah, I think that I'm gonna stop rambling because I'm trying to convince people about something. And like I said, it's definitely not a 100% replacement for Games Workshop. Yeah, and as much as I would like to say, oh, you know, stop buying Games Workshop, I wouldn't, because I actually enjoy Games Workshop models, like, you know, the little Tauros little car, yeah, awesome little thing. I want more of them, and I will buy more of them because that's what I do, yeah. And not everyone gonna be, you know, so open-minded to get 3D, you know, into 3D printing. But like I said, if you are looking for something and your budget is low, yeah, look no further than Teamu, because they really did good job with this, and I'm not gonna be complaining about them. Yeah, but this is it. This is it. I'm stop chatting because I'm gonna be doing this in circles. So if you like this video, you know what to do. Yeah, and of course, everyone have a great day and take care. Bye bye.